Welcome to World Trade Insight. You know, it's funny. Your coworker just bought a house. And you know this because, well, it's all they've talked about for 3 weeks straight. They're showing you pictures of the kitchen backsplash like it's their newborn child, and suddenly they're dropping words like escrow into conversations about the weather. And you smile, right? You congratulate them. But as you walk away, that little voice starts up in your head. Why haven't I done that? Am I falling behind? Well, I'm here to tell you something. There is absolutely nothing wrong with you. What's wrong is the story we've all been sold our entire lives. The idea that buying a house is the only way to be a successful adult. Today, we're going to tear that story apart, not with feelings, but with cold, hard math.
See, you've been sold a lie. And it's a lie that's so deep in our culture that even questioning it feels like, well, like heresy. The lie is simple. Renting is throwing money away. But buying a house is the best investment you can make. Sure, that might have been true for your parents or grandparents, but the economy of the 1970s, that's not the world we live in today. For a whole lot of people, buying a house isn't a golden ticket to wealth anymore. It's a financial trap, and it's disguised as the American dream. So today, we are going to dismantle that lie piece by piece using math. Because once you see the real numbers, the hidden costs, you'll see that for many, renting strategically and investing the difference, that's the smarter, faster path to building real wealth.
All right, so let's start with that killer phrase, the one that's designed to end any debate. You're just throwing money away on rent. You've heard it a million times. It's meant to make you feel like a fool, like you're literally setting a pile of cash on fire every single month. And the logic, on the surface, seems solid. When you pay a mortgage, some of it goes back to you. When you pay rent, all of it goes to your landlord. Case closed, right? Well, not so fast. Here's the part they always conveniently leave out.
When you own a house, you are also throwing money away. A shocking amount of it, actually. The thing is, you're throwing it at so many different people. The bank, the government, the insurance company, the guy who fixes your roof, that it's easy to lose track. The truth is, the money you throw away as a homeowner is often way, way more than what a renter pays. This isn't just an opinion, it's a fact that's hidden in plain sight. So let's follow the money and see where every dollar of a mortgage payment really goes.
Okay, check this out. Let's say your total monthly housing cost is $4,000. Now, because of how mortgages are structured, in the early years, almost all of your payment is pure profit for the bank. That's interest. In this case, a whopping $2,000. Poof, gone. Then you've got property taxes, which you pay to the government forever, and they pretty much only go up. That's another $450. Then homeowners insurance, $220, gone. And then there's the silent killer, maintenance. A good rule of thumb is to budget 1% of the home's value every year for repairs. So that's about $330 a month. Now, add all of that up. The interest, taxes, insurance, maintenance, and look what's left. Just look at that tiny little sliver. $330, that's your equity. That's the only part you actually kept. So let's put them side by side. On the left, our renter is supposedly throwing away $2,000 a month. What a waste, right? But look at the homeowner. In our example, they are throwing away, gone forever, $3,670 a month on costs that build zero equity. Zero. They are lighting almost twice as much money on fire every single month. The only difference is, the homeowner is doing it under the delusion that they're a genius investor, while the renter is just, paying for a place to live. The renter is honest about their costs. The owner, they're often in denial.
And that's just month one. The real difference, the mind-blowing part, is what happens over decades. So let's run a little race. Let's fast forward 30 years and pit a disciplined renter against a typical homebuyer. This is where the math gets truly brutal, because we get to see the awesome power of compound interest at work. And trust me, you want that force on your side.
So here's our setup. It's super simple. We have renter A, who pays $2,000 a month in rent. And we have homeowner B, whose total cost for a similar house is $4,000 a month. Now, here's the secret weapon, the absolute key to this whole thing. Renter A takes that $2,000 difference and invests it every single month into a simple S&P 500 index fund. We'll just assume a pretty standard 8% annual return. Homeowner B, meanwhile, has nothing left to invest. Their house eats up all the extra cash. And the race is on. Let's see who wins after 30 years.
Okay, 30 years later. Homeowner B did it. They made every payment, the mortgage is gone, and they own their home free and clear. Let's say their $500,000 house appreciated at a normal rate, about 4% a year. It's now worth around $970,000. That's their net worth. All of it, tied up in this one asset. And that feels like a huge win, right? I mean, that's almost $1 million. But, hold on, what about our renter?
Renter A, by simply automatically Consistently investing, that $2,000 difference every month, ends up with a portfolio worth $2.4 million. And that's not theoretical value trapped in some bricks and wood. That is liquid cash, money they can actually use. The renter didn't just win this race, they lapped the homeowner. Twice. They ended up with nearly 2.5 times the wealth, and they never had to spend a single Saturday fixing a leaky faucet.
Now, I have to be completely honest here. There is one giant asterisk on all of this. This only works, I repeat, only works if the renter actually invests the money they save. This is the single best argument for buying a house. It's forced savings. The bank makes you pay. It forces discipline. As a renter, you have to create that discipline for yourself. You have to automate it. Set up a transfer to your investment account for the day you get paid, so the money is gone before you can even think about spending it. If you save $2,000 a month on housing but blow it on other stuff, this whole thing falls apart. Discipline is the magic ingredient.
Okay, let's step away from the 30-year spreadsheets for a minute and talk about right now. Let's talk about the day-to-day reality for so many homeowners. Because even if you can afford the house on paper, there's a heavy, hidden price you pay, the constant grinding stress of being house poor.
So let's meet a couple. We'll call them the Johnsons. They make great money, $180,000 a year combined. I mean, they're solidly upper middle class. They did everything right. They got good jobs, they saved, and they just bought that dream house in a nice suburb. On paper, they look like they've made it. But if you could see their bank account, if you could hear their conversations late at night, you'd realize they feel completely, utterly broke. They're drowning in their own success.
Let's just follow their paycheck for a month. They start with a healthy $11,000 after taxes. Pretty good. But then the drain starts. First, boom, $3,200 gets chopped off for the house. Mortgage, taxes, the whole deal. Then come the other big bills. 2 car payments, student loans, and the absolute budget killer, daycare. That's another $2,200 gone. Then, just life, groceries, utilities, phones. Poof, $2,800 more vanishes. And after all that, they're left with just a little over $2,000 for everything else. Clothes, saving for retirement, emergencies, maybe, just maybe, a date night. They're making almost double the median income, and they feel like they can't breathe because the house owns them.
And you know what the cruelest part is? People tell the Johnsons, "Oh, but you're building equity." Here's the truth about equity. It is not real money. You can't buy groceries with equity. You can't pay for a broken arm with equity. It's like Schrodinger's wealth. It both exists and doesn't exist at the same time. This is all about liquidity. Liquidity means having cash you can get your hands on quickly. Your investment account is liquid. Your savings account is liquid. Home equity? It's one of the least liquid assets on the planet. To turn it into real money, you either have to sell your house, and then where do you live, or you have to take on more debt. You just dig the hole deeper.
So what's the answer here? It's actually really simple. You have to stop playing a rigged game. For so many of us, renting isn't failing. It's a strategic choice to opt out of a system that's designed to take your money and limit your freedom. It's time to redefine what winning actually looks like in today's economy.
This is what winning looks like now. It's keeping your housing costs low, under 25% of your take-home pay. It's having a real emergency fund, actual cash in the bank, not some imaginary number on a website. It's having the freedom to pack up and move for your dream job without being tied down by a house you can't sell. It's having the capital to start a business or jump on an opportunity. And you know what? It's sleeping soundly at night because you know a broken water heater isn't going to bankrupt you. That's real wealth. It's freedom.
Let's look at the matches one more time from a slightly different angle. Let's say you saved up $100,000 for a down payment. The buyer sinks that into the house. What if the renter invested that $100,000 from day one on top of their monthly savings? The results get even crazier. We're talking a multi-million-dollar portfolio for the renter. Meanwhile, the homeowner, after paying interest, maintenance, and then realtor fees when they sell, might only walk away with a couple $100,000 in actual profit. I mean, the math is practically screaming at us.
We have to update our definition of wealth. The old definition was about what you own, a big house, a fancy car. The new definition of wealth is about what you control. It's about having options. It's about having cash on hand, liquidity. It's about having the financial freedom to say yes to incredible opportunities and the power to say no to things that look like prizes but are actually traps. It's about being agile in an economy that changes in the blink of an eye.
I absolutely love this quote because it just cuts right to the chase. Having cash and investments you can actually use, that's liquidity, and liquidity is freedom. Having your entire net worth trapped inside 4 walls that are constantly asking for more of your money and your time, that's equity. And for a lot of people, it's just a prison with really good PR. It's a beautiful cage, but it's still a cage.
Okay, so what do we do with all this? It's time to throw out the old playbook and write a new one that works for you. And let me be crystal clear. I am not saying you should never buy a house. My goal is to kill the assumption that you must buy a house. For some people, in some places, it is absolutely the right call. Buying can make sense if you know you're staying put for at least 7 to 10 years. It can make sense if the monthly cost to own is actually cheaper than renting a similar place, and it definitely makes sense if you truly value the non-financial perks, the stability, the community, and you can afford it without becoming house poor. Your playbook is about knowing the real trade-offs.
Look, do not follow a script that was written for a different economy. The advice to buy a house at all costs is financial advice from the 1980s. The world is different now. Interest rates, home prices, wages, the whole game has changed. The only way to win is to ignore the noise and run your own numbers. Seriously, go find a rent versus buy calculator online, be brutally honest about all the costs in your area, property taxes, insurance, maintenance. Compare that to renting and what you could earn by investing the difference. A spreadsheet doesn't have feelings. The numbers don't lie. Trust the math.
So here's the final question, and it's for you. The old playbook is failing millions of people. It's pushing them into lives filled with financial stress, all for a dream that just doesn't add up anymore. So are you going to keep playing along with that broken script just because it's what everyone else does? Or are you going to start playing to actually win? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Are you on Team Buy or Team Rent? And if this explainer helped you see the game a little differently, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to World Trade Insight for more deep dives that challenge how we think about money. Thanks for watching.